My fellow countrymen, the name is Dickerson, John Dickerson. I am delivering this speech to you today due to the turmoil caused by the acts that were just passed by Great Britain, formerly known as the Stamp Act. Many people in the colonies are gravely upset over these acts. They think it's an encroachment on their freedom. Need I remind these people that we are British and we do answer to the King and Parliament. And Parliament is only exercising what authority was already granted to them and has been granted to them since the establishment of the colonies. Need I remind the colonists that Great Britain has always exercised rules over trade, navigation, has always deemed us an agricultural society, and them, the manufacturers of our goods that we buy back from them. This is the nature of our relationship, as it should be. This is what the colonies were founded upon, and that is the way it should be. Need I remind you that? Still, there are others gravely upset over the Stamp Act, the fact that all paper must be stamped in order to be lawfully binding. And not only that, a British stamped or taxed. Well, many of you I've heard say that can't we just make the paper ourselves? And to that I say, no, we cannot. Need I remind you that while there is a few handful of factories in the colonies, it would take many, many more paper factories to produce this paper. And not to mention, it would not be as good as British paper. And it might possibly, if we ever achieve, take decades to perfect making paper. So therefore, we should use British paper and British glass. After all, that is the law. And we are bound to Great Britain. We are all one empire. Them being the mother country, us being the child. Is it not their duty to regulate trade over their empire? If they delegate us to do something, then it is our responsibility to follow it with the uttermost duty, free of scruple. While these rights, one questions whether these rights trample on our freedom, how are these acts any different than the previous acts Great Britain has used? These acts are meant to keep the peace. Yes, they may cause some confusion, but overall it's meant to keep the peace. After all, these acts are to pay for the duty of being a colony to Great Britain. Does Great Britain not offer protection and safety and tranquility to our colonies? Yes, she does. So we need to pay our dues for that. That is all the King, in his just decision, is doing with these acts. In building up Great Britain, it will also build up the colonies. Great Britain has always had the power to bind trade and confine manufacturing in each and every colony. Except for that of taking money out of the pockets of the colonists. However, when a ruling state obliges a dependent state to take certain commodities from her alone, it is implied in the nature of that obligation, essentially requisite to give it the least degree of justice. Thus, we must approach these acts carefully and dutifully. After all, just as much as we need paper, we need to obey the law. We are British.